What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, I want to make this intro super quick. I'm bringing you my RB ranks 13 through the rest of the position. Now, if you want to check out the video I did explaining my 1 through 12, it'll be in the description below, or you'll see it pop up right about now, right above my head. Since the last video, I changed my rankings around a little bit, not too much in the top 10, but around the 12 to 15 spots, I flipped some guys around. So today, I'm going to start with Dameon Pierce. I moved him up to my number 12 position. Now, obviously, I didn't talk about him in the last video because I had him at, I believe, the 15th spot. But Dameon Pierce, to me, I just posted a video explaining why I think he's a really great player and completely undervalued for fantasy football. Also, if you want to check that out, you'll see it above. Dameon Pierce, to me, he's a try-hard guy. He just busts his hump. He works hard. He fights for every yard. And I don't see a reason why the Texans aren't going to just give him the job. Sure, they brought in Devin Singletary. But I made a point in the video that I talked about Dameon Pierce. People are really high on Kenneth Walker, and I think Kenneth Walker's a great player. They just drafted Zach Charbonnet in the second round of drafts. That's not nothing. That's big capital. And then all of a sudden, the Texans bring in, Devin Singletary, who kind of washed out of Buffalo, and people are maybe worried about it. I'm not. I think Dameon Pierce is a really talented player, so I'm really in on him. Obviously, I know the offense for the Texans can be a little bad. It's going to probably be not great with C.J. Stroud under center. But still, Davis Mills did it last year, and Dameon Pierce was leading rookies in rushing yards until he got hurt. Dameon Pierce is a legit good player that I don't really care what offense he's on. He had big games last year. There's no reason he can't do it again in 2023. Next, talking about my number 11. I don't know why I went out of backwards here. I went backwards. But Travis Etienne. Now, this guy was in my 13th spot, so I guess we should be talking about him first. But Travis Etienne, really talented player. Also did a video on him over the offseason, if you want to check that out. Really talented guy on a really emerging Jacksonville team. I love the offense that he's in. I think that offense with Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley coming back, Evan Ingram, and Trevor Lawrence, with Doug Peterson as head coach, I just think it's a match made in heaven. I made a lot of points in that video to where I go, wow, they really use Travis Etienne right. They don't run him up the middle. They get a big power back that's kind of useless to do that. They make Travis Etienne on the outside, and he's just a mismatch in the red zone. They love to use motion to get receivers and defenders where they need them, so they know that Travis Etienne can get the outside edge and beat defenders. They're great at doing things like that. I really see no downside with the Travis Etienne pick. The only thing I will mention is that he had some knucklehead plays last year. And what I mean by that is he had some bad drops, he had some fumbles in key situations. But really, other than that, they didn't really bring anybody significant in. And I kind of feel really safe about it. When you get past basically about the 12-ish range, you run out of guys you can trust. And I think Travis Etienne really rounds out that list for me of guys who I feel pretty confident aren't going to lose their jobs, are on a decent enough offense, and are good enough players. So for me, at number 11, Travis Etienne, pretty solid there. Coming in at my number 13, this one is really controversial. I know no one's going to agree with me at all. I have DeAndre Swift. I know that's insane. I know you probably just clicked off the video because you went, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. DeAndre Swift is so talented, it hurts my soul that he gets hurt so much. Maybe fortunes change for him. And this really comes down to me is I think the guy's super talented. He has the best offensive line in the NFL, on the most run-heavy team in the NFL. And there's no competition. They let Miles Sanders walk. I don't think Boston Scott's significant. I don't think Kenny Gainwell's significant. I think that DeAndre Swift could legitimately be a top 5 option at the end of the year if he just stays healthy. That's the big question. Will he stay healthy? The guy catches passes. He can run between the tackles. He's one of the quickest backs in the NFL. I'm just all in on it. You might be able to get him as a steal as my 13th overall running back because I know he's not going until the 20th range or not later. So DeAndre Swift for me, I'm all in on. I'm just hoping he can stay healthy. But if you're not willing to take the risks for it, I understand. But I just think the upside is too high to pass on at number 13. Coming in at number 14 for me is going to be Dalvin Cook. Now, this one comes with a big caveat of, does he get traded? Does he get cut? Where does he go? I've heard rumors that it's a done deal with the Jets, but they just haven't figured out the contract yet or whatever. Who knows? I don't see a reason why the Jets would make that deal. I think Breece Hall is a really good running back. Now, maybe they're worried about his knee, so that could be an issue. But for me, Dalvin Cook's still good. The only thing I have with Dalvin Cook is just the injuries. He has that shoulder injury that happens. It seems like every year it's kind of routine. If he's with the Vikings, I still think he's just going to take over the backfield. I know they say they like Alexander Madison, but in the past, they haven't ran Alexander Madison very much at all. Last year, I think he had 70 touches the whole year. So I think it's Dalvin Cook's job still. I still think he's a good player, still explosive, still has big plays. I just worry about the injuries. That's the only really big reason I have, Dalvin Cook this low. If Dalvin Cook is to go to the Jets, he'd probably fall back on my list for me because if Breece Hall is healthy, I think Breece Hall is pretty legit, and I could see that being a real timeshare there. But hey, it worked out with Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay, where they used A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. So if that's the case in New York, it could still work out no matter where he's drafted. Number 15, we talked about Kenneth Walker in the last video. I think he's a super talented player. The Seahawks, for me, are a little bit of a scary team because I don't super trust Geno Smith. Had a great year last year, of course, but will he fall back to earth a little bit? Will he come back to reality? There's been the guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick's in the world, the Josh McCowns that, have these miracle kind of runs where they bounce back and then they get the contract and then they're not that great. They kind of fizzle out. But then it worked for Ryan Tannehill. So is he Ryan Tannehill spectrum where he's going to take over a team for the next 5-6 years? Or is he going to be the kind of the 1 year wonder where this year, what if he throws what if he has, 15 touchdowns and 12 interceptions and they go, we really messed up with this Geno Smith contract. It's quite possible. That's where I'm up in the air. And I think Kenneth Walker is a good player. But like I mentioned earlier with Dameon Pierce, they just drafted Zach Charbonnet in the second round. The same thing they did with Kenneth Walker to replace Rashad Penny. They did that last year. Now, maybe it's a two-headed monster. Maybe they just wanted some backup. But I don't think you spend the second round pick on a backup running back unless you're really trying to play the guy. So that's why I dropped him from, I believe it was my either 11 or I think it was my 11 spot, down to 15. Still think he's talented. He can easily get the job. But what if he doesn't? There's a lot more risk going that way with Kenneth Walker as a team overall and just security. Who knows if he's going to be the starting running back by the end of the year or if he's in a really big timeshare. There's a lot of questions that I'm kind of just avoiding at this point. This next group of guys, I'm gonna rope them together. I don't want this video to be an hour long, so I'm gonna rope together the Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, and Aaron Jones group. That's gonna be my 16 through 18. Those guys, I'm just kind of done with. Now, like for Joe Mixon, for instance, I can't have a guy that just averages 4 yards a carry anymore. I don't care how talented he is. It's been 7 years. I can't do it. You're on one of the best offenses in the league. I don't want to deal with it anymore. I know he's gonna get the work, but he's so inconsistent. Outside of his one really monster year where he was great for fantasy, has 3-4 big games and the rest are duds. I'm tired of it. Aaron Jones, I just don't know what they're going to do with that offense. He's getting a little bit older, not too old, but still to the point where I go, he's a great player. I think he's super talented. I still do. I think he's good. But Jordan Love, they have really no receiving weapons on the outside. The whole new kind of just regime coming in. No Aaron Rodgers, it just gives me big pause. And Najee Harris, I just don't think he's that good. I think he's a power back that kind of is a power back, and that's it. If he's going to get all the work, then he's going to get all the work, and that's kind of it. But I think eventually you have to go, the guy's just not great. He's okay. He's not special by any means. So Najee Harris, to me, I go, okay, he's cool. But with a Kenny Pickett-led offense, too, where I don't think he's that great, it's a whole lot of not great thrown into one Pittsburgh offense where I go, I'm good. I think I'd rather just take other guys. But I have him at 17 for one reason, and that's what if he does get the job? If he gets to work and he's going to get 300 touches, 350 touches, he's going to probably finish as a top 12 running back unless he's just a complete disaster. So for that reason, Mike Tomlin loves using one running back. That's why I have him as high as I do. And now we get into the kind of the odd group of guys you don't trust at all. The guys where I go, there's upside for sure, but I don't trust these guys a lick. And that is the J.K. Dobbins, Khalil Herbert, Isaiah Pacheco, Jahmyr Gibbs, Miles Sanders, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams group, right? That gets me up to 25. Those guys, for every reason in the book, I just don't trust. J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams for injury reasons. Sorry, not so much Miles Sanders, but the three guys I mentioned, injuries, right? The injuries have been a big concern. But if they get the jobs and they're playing and there's no, Dalvin Cook coming in and they get the jobs to themselves, they're going to be awesome because they're good players. But the injuries scare me. And for the guys like Khalil Herbert, Isaiah Pacheco, and Jahmyr Gibbs, they're young guys who haven't really proven anything to me yet. And I'm kind of just going out on a whim and saying, hey, Jahmyr Gibbs, you're a rookie. They went high draft capital, and I think you're better than David Montgomery right off the jump. Montgomery's okay, but I just think you're better. You know, Isaiah Pacheco, you had a run last year, but you're okay. You don't catch passes. You're kind of just you're at this point, you're going to be a goal line back, and if you don't get me 8 to 10 touchdowns, you had an okay season. And Khalil Herbert, no Montgomery. It seems like the job is his. They didn't draft anybody significant. They only brought in Devonta Foreman, who I think is just kind of a big power back. So Khalil Herbert, it could be his job, but he hasn't had a ton of run to where he proved a lot to me. He's had some good plays, some good moments on film, but other than that, I'm not super in on him. You know, I like him, but I haven't been blown away by his film to really be like, yep, I'm all in on Khalil Herbert. I thought I was going to be, but I'm not. And then after that, we get into a weird spot where I'm kind of just good, right? I just don't see a lot with this group. Alvin Kamara is my 26, where I go, is he even going to play? He might be suspended. I don't know. James Conner, constantly hurt, but when he plays, he's usually pretty solid on a team that still didn't bring in any competition, but could legitimately be the worst team in the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals. No Kyler Murray for probably at least half the season if he even makes it back for the back half. David Montgomery, I just think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to probably, by the end of the season, be the back there. Jamal Williams, I think, is a stupid player. I think he sucks. I think he's just a pure power back that runs forward and gets what he gets. So he could have a goal line role if he is the starter, if Alvin Kamara does get, suspended in New Orleans. And then we run to number 30 with some other guys that I'm good on. The Rashad Penny, AJ Dillon, I've just seen enough of it. Zeke Elliott, I think, is washed. Rachaad White didn't impress me at all on a Bucs team that should suck. Brian Robinson Jr. just seems like a power back. I'm glad he overcame his injury, after getting shot. Like, that's huge. But on a Commanders offense, I'm good. Cam Akers, I think, is fine. Alexander Mattison is the last guy I'll talk about because I think he's the last guy with significance here, coming in at my 36. This will obviously all change. If Dalvin Cook is gone, Alexander Mattison seems like he would just step up and be the running back one. There's rumors all over the place that they view him as a legit running back one. They really view him as a 3-down back. And if that's the case, I don't think I would get him as high as I do have Dalvin Cook at 14, but he easily mixes into the J.K. Dobbins at 19 through probably Breece Hall at 24. He easily slides right into that mix of guys I don't trust, but the upsides are tremendous. Maybe that's too late to get him on, most consensus rankings and in drafts, but I haven't seen anything from the guy to really prove to me that he's awesome. He had some big plays. I looked at his highlights from last year, but I don't know. Why hasn't he gotten more run? Dalvin Cook's been hurt, and the guy just seems like he can't really find the field consistently. If Dalvin Cook's playing, the guy gets like 5 carries a game. So why hasn't Alexander Mattison, for as much as they're hyping him up, gotten more playing time? It seems like maybe he's a good player, but I don't know. Maybe not that great. All right, so I talked really quickly through my 13 through 24, actually more like 30, but I really just want to get this video to you guys because we're going to have a ton of off-season news coming and changes in the rankings, and I want to be able to have my rankings out so you guys know what I think of the players and see how these, situations change and how my rankings will adjust throughout the offseason. It's June 6th as I'm recording this video, so we have plenty of time. It's really going to hit the fan in, probably early July, mid-July. That's when stuff's really going to, set off. So I'm excited to get my rankings out to you. Like I said earlier in the video, if you want to see my 1 through 12, it'll be popping up right about here. If you already saw it, thanks for watching. Like the video down below, subscribe to the channel for a ton of more content coming your way. I already have a video I just recorded. It should be out before this video. So check them all out. Stay tuned if you like the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.